Welcome to the show tonight. We got some crazy for you. I guess I could turn the lights on around here, right? Why am I so tall? Shrink me, busy. All right, so listen. There's some craziness. There is some craziness going on, all right? Okay? Follow me. First off, for those of you who have seen my coverage of the story involving the guy that jumped off the bridge that they made a bunch of conspiracies over, well, they've got a new conspiracy around him, and it is stupid crazy. It's funny, too. We're going to look at that. I think the first thing we should do, though, is take a look at this. Everything that was beautiful. Busy. You know as well as I do that I need a certain kind of, like, you know, music for this, right? Everything that was beautiful became ugly. Patricia Steer responds to everything that happened. And I mean everything. She even talks about people saying that she has a ding-dong. I was going to use a different word, but I don't want the algorithm to tear me up. I'm going to stick with the word ding-dong. Is that okay with you guys? Can I stick with the word ding-dong when it comes to that? So Patricia Steer finally responded, saying that even about her having a thingy... Well, that's wrong. My camera's sideways. Shit on a turtle on Sunday. Oh, we got a straight camera now. I gotta do that. Yay. She not only responds to people saying that she had a extra member to her family. Okay, well, an extra she had a penis. That's the exact verbiage. She responds to that. She responds to being kicked out of Flat Earth. She responds to all the trolling. She responds to another Flat Earther that she says showed himself as pure evil. Now, the one thing I don't like about this article, they interlace an enormous amount of information and use little tiny quotes from Patricia, like this. But just in case their first in-person meeting was a hit, Subirats invited Patricia to stay with him. Quote, "We already knew we were going to be a couple. Antonio even began talking marriage, believe it or not, even if we'd never met," end quote. "Just consider this a test run," quote. So they add a lot of stuff in between her quotes and try to explain things like super heavily. Is this somebody trying to propagate what happened to Patricia? Are they trying to do damage control with what happened with Patricia? Are they trying to make Patricia look good? Are they trying to make Patricia look bad? We're going to figure it out while we go through this crazy article that purports to talk to Patricia to get her full response to why she left YouTube. I think it'll be interesting. That's the topic number one. Topic number two, Jaronism. We're going to start with this, and we're going to go into a bunch of really crazy stuff about Patricia's realm, the Flat Earth. But the Patricia things first, then the Flat Earth stuff at the later part of the show, because in between that, we're going to hit Isaac Cappy is getting a boatload of conspiracies in his name, and no one really knows why, because it's already been put out exactly what happened with proof from the police. Maybe these guys are pushing back against the police proof. Maybe they say to themselves, if we're going to keep making money off of this guy's name, we got to push harder against the police. God knows what's really going on there, but I think I'll be able to sum it up for you real nice and good after we take a look at it. And don't go anywhere tonight. I've got UFO sightings. I've got crazy people saying crazy things. I mean, the UFO sightings are pretty good, too. They're pretty good. We're going to go through them and see if they're easily debunked or if they are real. We've got people saying how far reality is between the sun and the earth. We've got mud flood. We've got people going batshit crazy about Nibiru, a purported extra planet in the solar system that's going to come in and do crazy things. Demonic Davros says, I read the whole thing. It sides with Steer. All right, bro. I can't wait to read it myself, though. That's kind of interesting. It sides with Steer. That's good. Maybe we'll get some Patricia Steer truth. Maybe we'll get Patricia to steer us to the truth. Busy. Busy, do I not get a damn laugh track? That was a very good joke. It combined driving with her name and the truth, which is a flat earth thing. Do you mind, Busy? I worked really hard writing the jokes for tonight. You're already trying to screw me up. I don't appreciate this whatsoever. Don't turn the music up, Busy. Respond to me now. Busy! Get ready. It's UNIRock Live. Give me one more chance. Ooh, ooh, ah, ooh. Hit it, Biz. You can feel it in the air tonight. The crazy is out in full force. So we must do our job and bring logic into the equation with a little bit of comedy from our assistant, Busy the Baker. Right, Biz? Right, Busy? Stop ignoring me, Busy. Don't turn up the music. Busy! Dav says, Subirats is a monster, and we're about to expose his monstrous tendencies right now. All right. So thank you guys for coming to hang out with me tonight. I really appreciate it when you come and watch the live show. I appreciate it when you share the live show. I also appreciate it when you donate, like Demonic Davros just did. You can do it through PayPal or Super Chat, or you can join the channel next to the subscribe button. And if you really like what we do, please check out my Patreon. And let's get right into it. Because, dude, I'm telling you, tonight, I don't know how I threw this show together so fast, but it was just everywhere I looked. Daryl McAllister, fist bump, dude, thanks for joining. Let's go. Because we have been looking for what happened to Patricia Steer since she left due to an intense bullying campaign, an intense exposure from other people, and then we watched the people that were responsible for it celebrate her leaving. We've been trying to contact Patricia. Pause the music, Busy. Oh, you can do that. Oh, you can pause it if I tell you to pause it. Patricia Steer, if you end up seeing this, we are not against you here. We want the truth to get out there. We want you to be able to return to YouTube, to do whatever you want to do. Come tell your story right here on UNIRock Live. We're not the evil monsters that people have made us out to be. We're just like you. We just want the truth. Let's do this. Right now, let's see what happened from Patricia's own mouth. And she gives a lot on those other flat earthers. Let's get it. Let's get it, baby. Oh, you're willing to start talking to me now, huh? Why weren't you talking to me earlier? You know what? You're on thin ice, mister. You want to be fired? Because I can fire you quick. Turn the music back up. Gotta get in my groove here if I'm gonna be live. Hit it, Biz. Gotta get in my groove here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready to bring you the show. Let's go. All right. The Flat Earth community is not like other communities to be a YouTuber that debunks it or to be somebody in it. It's very unique. It's very much on its own. I've only kind of tiptoed into it myself. I debunk anything and everything, man. I look for all the crazy out there. I bring it to you in edited shows and in live shows. And I'll tell you this. There's a group of people that like to attack the debunkers of the Flat Earth community, but they pretend to be globers themselves when they're really Flat Earthers. Then there's a group of Flat Earthers that attack the other Flat Earthers while they pretend to be globers as Flat Earthers. It's insanity. You've got so many different factions, so many different types of groups. They're all jealous as hell. Really jealous people. The only people that I've found that I could side with that were sane, that wanted to get to the truth and weren't going to use dirty tactics are pretty much the people you see me hang with, like Simon Dan, Team Skeptic, Conspiracy Cats is cool. You know, I just talked with Greater Sapien on Team Skeptic's channel and all those other guys. They seem to be logical and just here to do what they do. Although you'll find that once you start messing around and doing your thing, there's going to be different factions that come at you using all these different stupid, crazy tactics, and it's really pathetic. It's really, really pathetic, you know? Every conspiracy community has its kind of wacko little groupings inside of it. The Flat Earth is extremely unique and exceptionally dangerous because they like taking things too far. And it's easy to see if you just watch some of the content that's out there from the Flat Earthers. They like taking things too far. They take their hatred of science too far. They take the belief in their own religion too far. They try to push it out towards other people in a very negative way. They insult, they put down, they scream, they yell. They don't just call people idiots. They don't just try to tell people they're wrong. They get really crazy. And with Patricia Steer, they did take it over the line. They started making comments about her sexuality, about what gender she was. The bullying was nonstop with Patricia, and she didn't deserve it. And I want to give her kudos, man, because she stood up against that shit for years. In the end, I'm surprised she lasted as long as she did if you go out there and look at some of the hatred that came out, especially from really, really disgusting people like Orphan Red, Antonio Subirats, Nathan Oakley, and the debate team. And by the way, keep an eye out on my channel. I'm going to be releasing a video about Nathan Oakley soon, and it's not going to be anything funny. I do a lot of funny stuff like the Kicked Out series. I've got some serious stuff to contend with Nathan Oakley. I'm going to freaking burn his little empire down with what I've collected on him. He's not a debate community. It's not a debate show. If you've been watching me late at night, you know exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to get into it. We've made some discoveries. After we're done with this show every night, we head over to DLive and Periscope. Sometimes we do it here, but we go to DLive, and I just kind of relax while we listen to their debates and try to figure out what they're doing. And we've figured them out. We've got one night left. So tonight after the show is the last night, unless I need something else, but I doubt I will. It'll be the last night we go to DLive and Periscope at UNIRockTv on each network and listen to their broadcast from today while we chill and hang out and do our thing. Come hang out with us after the show. Because tonight, I think we're going to see, if what people have told me pans out, tonight's going to be a great show after this show. Now, let's get into this article. So, over here on our way is the highway.wordpress.com, everything that was beautiful became ugly. An interview with none other than Patricia Steer, from July 3rd of 2019, just a few days ago. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The beginning is the end. Wait, are they trying to be really prophetic here? The beginning is the end. Are they trying to be prophetic? Are they getting into that whole cyclical thing? Like, the end then becomes the beginning of the next chapter. I don't know what they're doing. Let's find out. Busy? Get me up inside that building. We got work to... Whoa! Cheap to buy a new webcam. My webcam, of course, if you know, is broken. He says I'm too cheap to buy a new one and that I deserve to have my webcam look like this. I don't, Busy. I'm just a YouTuber. I don't deserve to deal with this just because my webcam's junk, okay? Sorry, y'all. You're going to have to deal with my shitty webcam. I apologize. It's really bad. It's horrible. I'm going to try to get a new webcam in the next couple weeks. I didn't have enough money to get one last time I got paid. Okay, just take me out of here then. It just looks bad. All right, now get the reading a story in a let's call it oh yeah, that music, yeah, that's great. Reading a story in a dramatic way, music engaged. I have a confession to make. I've always wanted to be interviewed by Patricia Steer ever since coming over to the Flat Earth community in its toddler months. I've often fancied the inevitable invite that would never come. For the record, there's a high probability that somebody out there, notably a Flat Earthist, has only just now spit out their coffee and is pausing without having to read this so far. To wipe off their screen and napkin, I mean, a generation of vaginas will go dry for pinning this very article. Okay, so obviously, we're dealing with a flat earther. He's obsessed with reproductive organs in his writing. Most likely an incel, like the other flat earthers that are male, and most likely is not going to have good manners or be creative with any of this. I apologize. It's the article, not me. All right. Busy, do you mind turning on our viewer count? I'd like to know how many people are watching my show. Do you mind? Thank you. God. Bless America. I have to yell at him for basic things every damn day. Now, I apologize to any of my more adult viewers, but he goes on to say, Patricia Steer has a penis. It's all over YouTube. Just now, there is some other sad sap out there in the world that having haphazardly stumbled upon this article, though a careless phrasing in the search engine has spit out their coffee or worse, choked on an expensive blueberry scone. You literally just did the coffee joke. You just did the coffee joke. I just read it. You're redoing it in the next paragraph? Where did you go to school? Oh, that's right. You didn't pay attention in school. That's why you're a flat earther. Okay, his horrible penmanship will be shown throughout in this. Back to my public confession. I've often imagined the microphone which I might prop myself up behind as Patricia's latest conversation piece on her YouTube series, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, interviewed purely on the basis that I was contributing anything for the movement. You can't even contribute to your own blog in a productive way. Don't even think you're going to get interviewed, buddy. Hemingway wants to... Oh, my God, don't go into Hemingway. You kidding me? You got that damn... you got Flat Earth syndrome, bro. Let's skip past that. We'll go to the bottom of it. It is strange indeed that I so regularly labor over seemingly endless gauntlet of potential mockery while simultaneously doggy paddling with a leg cramp through floodwaters of timidity, lacking enough self-confidence to pick up the phone and introduce myself to a former DJ. I could just tear that sentence apart, but I won't. And then one day I was sitting under the shade tree somewhere alongside the Dordogne River in France, welcoming the sweltering heat of summer in when news had reached my social media feed. Patricia Steer had terminated her account. Hundreds of Flat Earth and Other Hot Potato episodes were eliminated. Just like that, gone. The woman who'd once given a voice to so many Flat Earth researchers was lending her microphone no more. To be precise, Steer had pulled the plug on everything. It seems she had left Flat Earth for good. I was preparing to cook my family dinner, trying to make sense of another long-winded recipe in French. Okay, listen here, buddy. Will you leave out all the damn euphemisms, all right? We get the damn point. You like France, you like sitting by rivers, you like being outside. Get to the meat of the article. Shit. Rick Hummer, the gentleman who performed the Chicago experiment with Rob Skiba, he said Patricia Steer was willing to talk. Why the hell didn't Patricia call me then? Patricia, seriously, get on my show. We won't ridicule you. We won't sit here and say like those horrible things that other people have said. We might make fun of you a little bit, but you can make fun of us back. It'll be fun. We won't talk about your vagine or whatever's down there. God damn it. He's the one that said that, not me. He started his article with that shit. But I didn't have her number. She told me to give it to you. Wait, Patricia Steer said me? Call her now, bruh. It says that. Call her now, bruh. Dinner was critically panned by a family of food critiques who had made a point of highlighting my French to English measurement miscalculation. Will you stop it? Just get to the freaking phone call. I just so often practice my own imagination, and then with a heavy sigh I told myself, quote, it's now or never, bro. Can you please describe more of how you cook and sit by rivers before you get to it, though, please? I'm very interested in that. I'm not here for Patricia Steer. Actually, the woman who answered hadn't a clue to who I was, despite the fact that she'd agreed to be interviewed regarding the circumstances leading up to her departure. And to make matters even more awkward, I interrupted her during a shower. Oh, you probably loved that, brah. You probably loved that. You were probably tickled pink when you heard that you interrupted her during a shower. God. Our conversation came solely based on Hummer's recommendation, and in fact, I thought she may have been disappointed to hear that I'd actually gone through with it. We hung up so that she could better prepare herself, but when she answered again half an hour later, and perhaps it's simply my own insecurities talking, I still think she was hoping for someone else. Oh my God, you really are a flat earther, aren't you, bro? I finally managed to coerce my correct, terribly awkward introduction, though dinner was not salvageable, and said, quote, "You probably don't remember who I am, but we actually met once almost 2 years ago." "Remind me again," she said. Okay, I won't talk like her, but I thought it'd be funny, at least in the beginning. Our initial introduction would have happened explicitly, and I might add, quite appropriately, considering the subject matter, through an online picture. I don't care. I don't care. I want to know the interview. Patricia laughed with delight over the phone as I described our first encounter, perhaps a sort of remedy to the pain she was currently attempting to heal from. Why would she be healing from pain? All she did was stop talking about flat Earth, bruh. She woke up to the globe, bro. I bet we're going to find that out, too. I hope. Please. Please, Lord, let Patricia Steer have woken up. Have her have saved herself from the horror that is flat Earth. Okay, here we go. She even recalled precisely what she said, a quip which can be best described as a simultaneous trademark blend of funny and scathing. At the very moment, she turned around quite abruptly, and I sunk into my chair, quote, "Go ahead and pull it. It's all natural." Though it's true that I had Patricia laughing, her full confidence in how I might take her own confession and spin them on paper had certainly not been earned. You're already admitting that you're going to take her out of context? The woman on the other end of the phone was deeply hurt. There was no question in my mind about that, and over the next nearly 3 hours, I was about to learn why. Told myself I wouldn't do this, Patricia said. She bemoaned our conversation with a sigh. Can I just get the quotes of what Patricia said, please? Do you have another article I can just get the quotes of what Patricia said? Don't tell me you're going to go into her birth and shit. Don't even turn this into a damn fucking dictionary or some shit here. The winner of the space race would reach the moon first, but its outcome was still undermined when Patricia Steer was born on the Earth. I'm going to fix my camera. What the? You went there. You really did go there, bro. The winner of the space race was barely announced when Patricia was born, kicking and screaming out of her mother's womb into the earth. Holy shit. Why did a flat earther have to write this? See, Patricia, this is why I wanted you to come here for an interview, because flat earthers do this kind of thing. Okay, let's try to get through this without reading any of her backstory. I just want her quotes. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. That is not to say, however, it was void of religion altogether. If the Steer family held to one religion, it was likely radio, and because of that, money was never far away. Quote, both of my parents were intellectually minded, Patricia recalled. That did have a defining effect on her. She once asked why the sky was blue. Judith Steer simply responded, quote, look it up. How do you know this? In a normal interview, the individual will write what the person says and then go into other things and how they draw those conclusions. Are you making this shit up, or did she talk to you more than what you're willing to admit here? I don't get it. Are you remembering the conversation and that's why you got all this crazy stuff in your head? I don't get it. Patricia knew what she meant by it. Their well-to-do house had a library, a room she described filled with books. Quote, she'd make us walk over to the dictionary in the library, which was one of those like mounts you'd see in churches, opened up all the time, a podium, I guess, and we'd have to go look it up, whatever it was, and read it out loud. Her studies would lead to a natural sort of conclusion, which the Cold War and its resulting counterpart, the space race, not to mention the shock and awe that was rock and roll, seemed to promote. I'm going to skip this freaking incredible novelist's description of all, wherever he's getting all this extra information. Skipping the extra information, I'm going to the quotes. Good lordy. She says, quote, I have never really thought about God. And, quote, I'd picked up the family Bible and read Revelation because I was young and had no idea what it was saying, but it was scary. I think we all do that, don't we? I think we all do that, honestly. All right. Now, helped her and runaway children. Something about runaway children, but I'm not reading all of this guy's external, thoughts with that one little quote or sentence. All right, here we go. I ended up doing the morning news, she said. A DJ on her father's radio station, then afternoon full-time. I wanted to be in California, but not in a town like that. It was a start, though. I stayed in radio full-time until the late 90s. Her radio career ended in New Orleans. It was a good upbringing. I had parents who remained together until the end, a model of love. My father told me a long time ago, whatever you do, when you do it, if it was on the front page of the newspaper, be certain that you'd be fine with it. Yeah. Good advice. Okay. All right. What else we got here? I guess I have to read some of this to even get it. My God, dude, this dude sucks. In as little as 300 words, Missy Wilkinson, a journalist for the New Orleans-based newspaper Gambit, managed to capture the Patricia that tens of thousands of flat earthists, perhaps hundreds of thousands, have come to either love or hate. Dated January 27, 2012, the article in question is the shop girl style Patricia Steer of A Girl is a Gun and features a picture of Steer posing for the camera as Wilkinson describes her applying a precise auburn coif, beauty-marked and perfectly fitted dress. The woman who I'd spoken to Gambit's reporter over the phone with a melodic yet articulate voice, pleasantly cool and clipped, quote, would have been intimidating if she wasn't so nice, Wilkinson admitted, adding, I'm a little cowed by her sharply defined aesthetic. If you want a Pulitzer Prize, don't make it about a Flat Earth interview over a YouTube channel. Go write this kind of thing about something important and just tell us what Patricia said, damn it. Every time a Flat Earther does something, this is how it goes. This is how it goes. When Wilkinson asked for the store's owner to describe her fashion sense, Patricia responded, I am not attracted to trends. I find them boring. Then why are you in the Flat Earth? Okay. I'm not criticizing, I'm reading. All right. Quote, it was a cute little store, the dresses. Can we just skip all this bullshit and get to what happened? Oh, here we go. It is often just repeatedly told how Patricia's New Orleans brick-and-mortar project would follow her footsteps into the Flat Earth movement by 1 year later as an inconvenient specter of sports. Always grabbing at her heels as if she were standing over a grave of her own design, secrets in plain sight which she had hoped to remain hidden, and plaguing her lofty ambitions. I disagree. Her tormentors will gladly direct your attention to the fact that in Patricia's portrait in Gambit, it includes 2 identical Andy Warhol-inspired canvas prints conveniently hung on the wall behind her, both of which depict the closely detailed features of a woman's lower face, most notably a red lacquered fingernail poised over her mouth as if to suggest a secret is in motion. Well, the entire claim of the Flat Earth is that it's like the true thing that is the secret that the government's been hiding from the world for 50 years. So, I mean, logically, we could probably figure out why that is, right? The twin prints, appropriately titled Shh, originate from British pop artist Who Cares? Though her original is valued at £500,000, IKEA sold millions of them for as little as €10. Flat Earthists would later interpret Patricia's IKEA store-bought prints to mean that she was employing a Masonic shh sign as another sacred clue. Puzzle pieces, really, which, when assembled together, revealed her true agenda, the bigger picture, most notably that she was a male agent posing as a woman and that she had planned her infiltration of the budding Flat Earth movement all along. Well, there's a problem with that, Mr. Author of the, Mr. Author of this. Somebody going, shh, isn't a damn Masonic symbol. All right, we solved that. All right. That was easy. Also, she said this. Oh, she talks about Satanism. In the following years, reports of nefarious dealings would plague Patricia Steer by members of the very community she helped create. Because they're a bunch of closed-minded, prejudiced, hateful people who refuse to educate themselves and instead convince themselves of what they want to believe. The fact that they're very nasty, that they spread rumors, that they lie about everything else in the world is a pretty good, thing to be able to imagine once you know that they believe in the flat earth and the reasons why they believe in it. Of course the flat earth community would do this. It's a fake-ass community. It's got evil all around it. The YouTubers do it for money. The people that believe it do it so they can be comforted inside about if the earth is flat, then we know there's a God. When in life, one of the biggest questions you have to ask yourself is whether you believe in God or not when you're faced with the fact that we don't have any obvious thing in front of us. You get me? I think that makes sense for why so many flat earthers would attack her in this way. I don't know. I could be crazy. A local businessman printed shirts and stickers for her, bought it from her in 2014. Since he was a Satanist, or so the claim went, he certainly dealt in Baphomet imagery. Well, if he does prints of shirts, he'll do prints of shirts for whoever orders it. Doesn't mean that he believes any specific thing if he's printing shirts as a business. Good lordy. The next logical conclusion is that Patricia is also a Satanist. And besides, they say I look like a man in that picture, so there's that. I don't think you look like a man in that picture, personally. Before Patricia's tormentors, well, actually, it's kind of weird because a lot of you do find a lot of flat earthers that are incels, you get me? And they just love putting down women, so is that a factor here too? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, let's skip ahead. Sometimes you see people in the streets, quote, looking like they don't care, Patricia would tell journalist Angela Hernandez several months later, same magazine. He really does want to give her entire goddamn history, dude. So, there's a section titled Hot Potatoes. Let's take a look at it, I guess. There is a lot of, Davros says there's a lot of projection in the article, but most of it is factual. I know, yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I know this dude is, he did an all right job. I just think he went way too far. I think he thought a lot of people would see the article, so he put a lot of work into it. You get me? He tried to overdo it, which we find in every flat earth video that's out there, okay? I think it makes sense. Okay. Hot potatoes. Here we go. It was 2015, and a 52-year-old Patricia Steer. Wait a second. There's no fucking way. Hold the front door. Am I seeing? In 2015, Patricia was 52? She looks like she's 28. Whoa. Huh. That's news to me. I thought she was at least in her 30s, which would be a great compliment to any woman. But it's true. They do the same thing to Angelina Jolie. They do on the internet. You'll find a lot of channels that call Angelina Jolie, and they do it by pulling up pictures of her in her 50s or late 40s or whatever she's in now. And of course, because she's aged since she was younger, they take her aging as she's a man. But if you go look at Angelina Jolie's early productions, she does many where she's fully naked back in the early 90s. One's called Geely. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's very sad. It's a true story about a model. So, Mangelina Jolie is just this fantasy that these, incel YouTubers create, and Patricia Steer being a man is just a fantasy that the Flat Earth incels create that use it. What about Orphan Red, UNIRock? What about Orphan Red? She's not an incel. She's just evil. Okay. Kind of just meandering around, clicking on links which might quench her curiosity, looking up things of note. She'd already settled upon the fact that blank was an inside job. And, quote, because I'd been down that conspiracy rabbit hole on YouTube, things of that nature kept getting suggested to me, end quote. That's when Patricia stumbled upon the 2001 documentary, A Funny Oh My God. Did I not just say this when I was live with Team Skeptic and Greater Sapient? A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. You guys know what that is? That's the documentary that I told Greater Sapient that we all need to debunk. Now, Greater Sapien has debunked that documentary, thank the Lord. So, if you want to see the counter, we're actually going to talk about this in a video coming up on my show. I just need to prepare it because I want to do a good job with it. But we're going to talk about a funny thing that happened on the way to the moon. It's a propaganda piece that was put out by Bart Siegel, or Sigel, I don't know how to say his name. He's the guy that got punched by Neil Armstrong while Armstrong was like 80 or something, and he punches Bart in the head because Bart asks him to swear on the Bible that he went to the moon, right? Anyway, that all started because of a funny thing that happened on the way to the moon. We may watch it later, we may not, but it's just funny to me. Patricia Steer became a flat earther because of that video. Well, guess what? 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday when I was live on Team Skeptics channel, I was mentioning how this video turns a lot of people into moon deniers. It's funny that it turned her into a flat earther because in order to watch that and believe anything that any conclusion it comes to, you have to believe that Buzz Aldrin and them are deep in space. Not just in orbit, but out in space. A little bit, at least. So, just funny. Just funny. And then it's 2004 follow-up, Astronauts Gone Wild, both Bart Sibrel films. Sibrel, yes, Sibrel. Well, it's a good thing that we finally have gotten around to debunking good old Bart. You'll be filled in on that soon on my channel. Wait, we never went to the moon? The very notion fascinated Patricia. Why would they lie to us? I looked at both sides. Oh, well, I'll tell you why people lied to you about telling you that we didn't go to the moon. Now, about 2 months ago, I promised you guys I'd look into the moon thing. Now, this documentary was one of my main things that I wanted to focus on before we try to determine whether it happened or not. What have I figured out up to now? Well, I figured out that, yes, we did go, and yes, they did lie about a few things, but it wasn't the astronauts or NASA. It was a few people that were in NASA, and it was very minor things that they lied about. Anyway, I just want to let you know that's where I'm at this point. If you've got some kind of piece of evidence that completely debunks us going to the moon, make sure you email it to me because soon I'll be doing my entire sum up on the moon conspiracy. I think I just got it nailed down. I think I do now. Let's skip ahead. Around the orbit of the moon landing, she stumbled upon a man inhabiting the deepest unexplored pocket of cyberspace named Mark Sargent. But when Patricia first discovered him, specifically YouTube's recommendations that she watched, Flat Earth Clues, quote, it wasn't as clues as they are today, compiled all into one video. They were a series of clues, at that time as many as 10, I don't remember, but they were still coming out, is what I'm trying to say. I would devour them, and then I would watch his new clues as they came out, which would end up to clue 13 by this point. Then she discovered none other than the Flat Earth Troll Master, Eric Dubé. And then she thought about space and its precarious relationship with the shape of the Earth, and for the moment in her life, she finally realized it's a spiritual thing. I'm glad that she came to that realization because that's very true. It is a spiritual thing when people say that there's no such thing as space. It's a spiritual thing. Quote, and at that time I was not an atheist, but I was just one of those people who believed in evolution and science. You know, probably that God didn't exist, so you're more nihilist, right? And it didn't make sense how God could exist due to the way we've been taught science. For Patricia, it was all old philosophy from a less civilized age. But then I realized after I digested a lot of the flat earth material, in essence, what's being hidden from us is God, the creator. Well, you know what? That's kind of true. If God does exist, the entire world is almost set up to make it look like God doesn't exist, if that's the case, right? I mean, even an atheist or anyone can agree with that statement. It's either that the world makes it look like God doesn't exist or God doesn't exist. But that doesn't mean the Earth's flat, Patricia. At least she's telling us how she became a flat earther. I mean, it helps us understand. Busy, what's with the dance music? Why are we... It's not time to dance. I know you want to dance. I know. You always want to dance. Can we... Okay, thanks. Thank you for the next song. Thank you. All right. A lot of videos told me different things, but I got the why of it definitely. They were hiding God, which only begged the question, if God existed, and if it was an agents of scientism who had lied to her about the shape of everything, was religion still within reason? And I thought, what religion has a lot of good advice in it and good ways to live your life? And those... Wait, so you got your religion by picking it? I didn't know people could pick a religion. You can pick religion? Anybody know how we pick religion? How do you pick religion? I don't... All right. In those regards, Flat Earth became a quest. One might even say a spiritual pilgrimage, but rather than take the ancient road towards Jerusalem, the destination remained undecided for now. Meanwhile, something needed to be done. Quote, there have been so many things in this world that have really bothered me. Wars, famine, injustice, persecution, blankety, but I never did anything about it. I just watched it go by. But since it was so early in the awakening, I thought I could get on board immediately and make a difference, because it was somewhat new to the internet. So I said to myself, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, something I'd never done before. I just in my head see her doing this when she said that part of the article, okay? I'm sorry, that's what I see. Leave me alone. Don't yell at me. Okay, so I said to him, oh, I read that part. I had toyed with the idea when I became vegan. You got to be vegan to be a flat earther? Do you need to be a flat earther to be a vegan? The world wants to know. Because I don't want to hurt animals. I wanted to hurt the least amount of animals possible. Then again, the problems of the world always seem too vast. Anyway, let's move ahead here. Damn, this dude wants us to read this for hours. Okay. The documentary in which Lewis interviewed her for was supposed to take 10 minutes of her time, but ended up consuming 2 hours, and at the end of which he and Patricia found themselves talking and laughing. Patricia suddenly blurted out, quote, I'm starting a YouTube channel tomorrow. Will you be my first guest? Okay. Wait, what the hell is this? And for me to even start a YouTube channel, I'd wake up in the morning and say, I've got to sit at my computer and do technical stuff and figure out how to make a channel. That's horrible. I'll do it tomorrow. A conversation which greeted her, in which she purposed to hold each and every morning. Wait, did I really just say that? Did I just invite Michael Lewis onto a YouTube channel which doesn't exist? Lewis agreed. Oh, she's talking about how she created hot potatoes. Okay. Nobody would remember Patricia Steer, really, but with a name like Hot Potatoes, I could talk about Flat Earth and other assorted things. I could talk about blank. I could talk about blank. I could talk about anything that has to do under the banner of a hot potato issue. A hot potato? Did she make that shit up? I figure if you're going to talk about hot potatoes, you'll talk about French fries. You'll talk about baked potatoes. You could talk about the one that has the bacon and the cheese in it. That's some good shit, bro. Patricia, that's some good shit there. Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes went live on August 23rd, and with its new vision of the blossoming movement for Patricia, simply be a back alley scuttling of anonymous gurus, something out of the Matrix, who dial the homes of the truthers, such as Neo, and wake them up from their sleep. Quote, I wanted to find out who these people really are. I know who I am. I know how I got into this. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm skipping ahead. I just remember. I'm bored as hell reading this. I just remembered it. I just remembered how bored I am reading this damn article. Here we go. Let's go down to the Mark Sargent part. This is sucking, dude. This article's sucking, bro. Mark Sargent. Patricia may have discovered Mark while intellectually orbiting the moon, which cannot possibly be landed upon. So you're going to use your interview with Patricia to push your propaganda? What a great interviewer you are, sir. So let's skip his propaganda. Patricia stopped dating most men because they couldn't make the jump into the flat, disc-shaped reality, which suddenly encompassed the entirety of her world. She wanted a flat earthist for a man, somebody who was awake. Sargent was a flat earthist. Sargent was awake. If you think Mark Sargent is awake, you got something coming to you. Just turn on any time when the dude talks. Did you hear him go on that one show in Australia? He goes on, and the first thing he says is, don't trust anyone from America about the shape of the earth or the moon. And the dude's like, well, you're an American. Should I trust you? And Mark's like, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. An excellent video clip if you haven't seen it. Okay, so talking about Mark Sargent, quote, when I went out to where he was and stayed a couple of days and then came back, and there just wasn't chemistry there. Did you bang him? I gotta know. Is that why he's been in love with you this whole time? Did the chemistry not work? Did you guys, you went up to meet the guy. He's a flat earther. He's awake. Did you guys get a little crazy that night? You know, taking a little too much wine, a couple of flowers, a little heart-shaped box of chocolates. And then once you got in bed, you woke up the next morning like, what have I done? I gotta get out of here. Something happened, Patricia. The world needs to know. All right. There was no chemistry there. There was really nothing to it. From that moment forward, Patricia and Mark have been synonymous with Flat Earth, but only as associates and business partners. Quote, people always said we were flirting. We weren't flirting. No, that's what she said right here. We weren't flirting. We just had that sort of relationship, you know, that easily ping-ponging off of each other, and he was always very complimentary about me being attractive on his videos, but he was never doing it in a sexual way. It was more of a respectful kindness that he offered me. No, Patricia, it was more of a, I want to marry you and have little Mark Sargents with you. I mean, we are happy that there aren't any little Mark Sargents running around, but in the end, don't tell us that that's not what Mark wanted. That's what Mark wanted, Patricia. So stick with me, because the next part of the article, every flat earthist has a face, every agenda, a name, and personality. Let's all meet up and be friends. And we're going to start getting into what happened with her and Antonio Subirats straight from her mouth. Then we're going to find out what she thinks about being kicked out of Flat Earth. Has anybody given me my due credit yet? I did a video that, after the Behind the Curve documentary, showed that Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer and Bob and Jaron were kicked out of Flat Earth. You can go find it on my channel, okay? Now, here we are a few months later. Patricia got kicked out of Flat Earth. Bob got kicked out of Flat Earth. Mark is being kicked out of Flat Earth. And Jaron is being kicked out of Flat Earth. And I'm going to prove all that tonight, even more than I already have, but I'm pretty good at predicting things, peeps. You got to admit it. All right, let's roll to the next part of this article. Thank you for being here. Super chat down below. Join the channel next to the sub button. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to grab a drink. Go get you a smoke and a pancake. Get you a crepe and a bong and a blintz or something. You got me? We'll be back in 30 seconds right here on UNIRock Live. Other room busy. All right. Oh, Spags, I don't understand what you mean by kicked out. So there was a large group of people that stood up against Mark Sargent and Patricia because of what happened during the documentary, where, you know, they were represented, and a lot of the Flat Earthers didn't like how they were represented, and a lot of people that weren't Flat Earthers that watched it kind of saw that, you know, who they were, and that, you know, they're just these normal people that are confused and can't really even get along, like Sargent seeing the button right next to him and looking right at it, and it says start, and he's up there like, I can't get it to work. I can't get it to work. Then we saw Jaron conducting an experiment, but this time we got it to be live recorded by someone that wouldn't edit the footage, and Jaron proves the globe, and then Bob proves the globe with his thing. So all of that turned an entire movement against them. And then it got a lot of the people that didn't believe them anyway, like people that weren't Flat Earthers, to go in and make fun of them on the internet. And they basically were kicked out. They weren't accepted. Before the documentary, they were accepted in the greater community as pillars or figureheads for the community. But afterwards, they're looked at by the majority of both sides as jokers, really, is all you can say. All right, let's get going here. All right. I gotta turn down my green screen even though my shit's fucked. It's about as much as I can turn that sucker down, really. All right, here we go. That works. All right, Busy, give me some, reading the article music to the peeps. Get me the reading the article to the peeps music going, please. Do you mind? Is it possible? Can you play a song? He was half Spanish and English, by the way, of his mother and father, and the fact that he lived in Stockport, England, while Patricia had adopted Houston was particularly only a hiccup, a minor complication at best, because Antonio Subirats... All right, whatevs. Antonio Subirats, where was I? Was a flat earthist. Nothing great stood out about their initial interview on Hot Potatoes, she recalled, but she liked him. They had a chemistry. Despite the incoming flux of occupants settling into the flat earth, the natural science of attraction hadn't happened before. Ooh, how romantic. Before and after the interview, people and I correspond, but when it came to Antonio, he and Patricia kept right on corresponding, if you get my drift. We started talking on Skype, on camera. We had a little routine where we talked to each other when I was done with the day, though he was in England, and we got to know more about each other, our backgrounds, things like our favorite music and favorite food, to our deeper feelings about life and relationships and love. We ended up having a relationship online, and it was never a sexual relationship. Well, actually, I would go, sure, Patricia. But I actually believe it in this case because Antonio Subirats does not seem like someone to me. Well, let me say this. If he was faced with a woman in real life, he would call one of his friends and be like, yo, what do I do, man? How do I do this? What happens if she wants to do something? I don't know where to put it. You know what I'm saying? That would be the... Okay, you got me. Bisexual, Patricia was referring to sexting. Clearly, her father's advice was not forgotten. Whatever you do, when you do it, if it was on the front page of the newspaper, be certain you'd be fine with it. I'd never do anything sexual on camera, never. It's not me, and besides, he never asked me to do anything like that. Regardless of their desire for each other grew, and as a small measure of relief, a solution soon presented itself, a temporary one at least. A mutual friend of theirs, another Englander, and flat earthist Nathan Oakley announced his plan to meet up in Oxford. Now, when it comes to meetups, I had created the very first flat earth meetup ever. It was Earth Day, she recalled, Houston, Texas. 25 flat earthers showed up. It was a multi-course vegan meal in a very nice restaurant in a nice part of town, and I paid for everything. The idea fell directly in line with hers, and, well, hold on, Patricia. If you paid for the food and announced it on YouTube, you think maybe some of the people that showed up just said they were flat earthers so that you'd pay for their food at a nice restaurant? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you showed up in my town and announced a free meal at a nice restaurant and all I had to do was say I was a flat earther for an hour, I'd be there, baby. Okay. When it comes to meetups, I read that. The idea fell directly in line with hers and Mark Sargent's secret show thinking. No gossip, no scandal. Let's get to know the face behind the researcher. Let's make Flat Earth personable. More precisely, Steer envisioned an international community. I did two of those a year apart, both critically panned by Flat Earthers. The complaints quickly poured in. Who does Patricia Steer think she is? Putting on dinner parties? You see, that tells you how stupid the Flat Earth community is. I don't give a shit what community you're in. If you're a gamer, if you like UFOs, if you like watching videos on RC car racing, if a person wants to say, hey, we're going to have a community dinner at this area, why would anyone criticize that for any community? So dumb. Patricia Steer thinks she's so fancy. Patricia Steer thinks she's better than everybody else. No, that's actually probably in the heads of those people like, we can't afford to do this. Let's yell at Patricia. Quote, in reality, I wanted to move Flat Earth to the next level. It wouldn't simply be on YouTube where people could connect in person. I saw a great need for that. I saw a need for people to form relationships. There was so much loneliness. I saw singles needing another like-minded individual in their life. Even couples needed to meet other like-minded friends and in their own neighborhood. And besides, those who came loved them and enjoyed them, and they were very successful. Some of the same people from the first year came back to the second year. Not to say everybody enjoyed the mixer, according to Patricia. Patricia Steer's international audience, more specifically, the way in which they perceived her had changed dramatically. And it all started in Oxford. 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 So, Patricia, what happened in Oxford? That's what I want to know, baby. What happened in Oxford? Patricia loved to travel. She loved flat Earth. Wait a minute. How can you love to travel and love flat Earth at the same time? Flat Earth is one of those things where if you fly on an airplane often, you're not going to believe in the damn flat Earth. If you get out of your hometown and actually look at other communities on YouTube, you're probably not going to believe in the flat Earth. Anyway. She thought, indeed, it seemed possible that she loved Antonio Subirats, too. Biggest mistake of your life. Patricia, biggest mistake of your life. If they're like Antonio, if they're like Oakley, if they're like Sleepy, you do not want to love one of those guys. They're very, very evil people. Just listen to their show, man. Damn. I have been torturing myself listening to the Flat Earth debate every day for the last few days to do a video. I'm almost crazy from it. I've been losing my mind listening to that shit. You think I'm joking? All right. Then again, if the chemistry didn't work out between them, the Flat Earth meetup would be a perfect distraction. They could walk away from the whole thing, including their late-night chats. Two mature adults could playfully claim, "We always had Oxford." But in case their first-person meeting was a hit, Subirats invited Patricia to stay with him. Quote, "We already knew we were going to be a couple. Antonio even began talking marriage, believe it or not. Even if we'd never met, just consider this a test run." Quote, "And I felt like I was falling in love," which is what he was expressing to me as well. So I went to Oxford. More specifically, Manchester. Antonio was there to greet her at the airport. He was waiting, she recalled, with a passionate kiss and a bouquet of flowers. Apparently in that order. Then they drove back to his place. "He made us tea," she said, "and we didn't drink it." I didn't make that part up. It's not one of my jokes. "And we didn't drink it," if you get my drift. Yeah, that's it, Busy. That's right, Busy. Uh-huh. That's right. And Busy, no. One sound effect at a time. One at a time, damn it. Oh, yeah. One of them said yay. Community. "All my videos are deleted," Patricia maintained over the phone as a word of warning, so the dates are fuzzy to me now. In fact, her entire Flat Earth experience seems rather compounded and convoluted into one toxically blended milkshake of familiar faces and take up with a conspiracy catchphrase. Will you stop using so many freaking words? That sentence did not need that many stupid words used. We already know you can write. You don't have to try to prove it with every sentence, author. We know you can write words on stuff. Okay. The first Flat Earth International Conference in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is under founder Robbie Davidson. Isn't that one crazy dude? Regularly refers to as historic, and which undoubtedly parallels some of Patricia's own vision, simply bleeds now with the second International Conference in Denver, Colorado, when the cracks and the fissures of her newly found reality, along with the enclosed cosmology which promised to contain them, simply washed away in the floodwaters of hatred. Her initial online introduction to Subirats was in 2016. Patricia seemed half assured maybe she couldn't be certain of that either, and the meetup in Oxford simply occurred in warm weather, she recalled. But one thing is for certain. Her 2-week stay in England, particularly the one-day event in Oxford, which made a monument of their crossroads, personified a vision. Video footage of Oakley's meetup in Oxford seems to sway dreamily, as if we are panning through a moment in time never fully appreciated nor grasped. Patricia, there's a problem. Nathan Oakley is one of the most deceptive, evil people that have ever graced YouTube with their presence, okay? If you've listened to any of his stuff, go back 2 days to that Flat Earth debate, the day before that one. Every time he gets debunked, and now I've watched this for myself now. Usually I can't stomach 10 or 15 minutes. I skip through it and I leave. I've watched every single bit of these debates. Oakley has been debunked like 50 times in the last week. Every time he mutes them, insults them, calls them names, ridicules them, and then kicks them out. You think I'm joking? Go click on one of his shows and just take a listen. Or, after tonight's live stream, come over to DLive and Periscope and listen to it with me, because tonight's my last night listening to Nathan Oakley babble on his show before I make my video about him. All right, back to the newsroom, biz. I'm skipping all the fluff words that don't need to be there. Okay. Aside from Nathan Oakley, there are familiar faces. Martin Liedtke is moved by the romance of it all, but most notably, Patricia and Subirats are clearly in love. The wobble of the camera testifies to the fact that's when she and Antonio Subirats, Patricia said, quote, began a relationship. Cold tea remained on the table. Afterwards, they did a lot of talking. He basically is saying that they did it, okay? They bumped uglies and then they talked, okay? Leave the tea out of it. We know what you're saying. Antonio lived in England, Patricia in America. A pond on the azimuthal equidistant projection map separated them. Damn it, author of this. I swear I'm going to stop reading these stupid words you keep using. Can you just get to the point, please? Good Lord. How would they possibly make this relationship work? Antonio had 2 daughters from a previous relationship. They were young, so he couldn't move to America, but Patricia had nothing to hold her back. She had the money and the resources to move to England and then start paying Antonio Subirats bills. And that was what was arranged, she said. I added the part about the bills, but you know it happened. You know it happened. Okay. The plan was that she would go back home in 45 days. So that's what I thought it would take to wrap up my apartment that I lived in, get all my stuff packed, shipped overseas, and get the arrangement for my 3 cats to have the necessary paperwork to get transported as well. Houston is an oil and a gas city, an international city, and the right city to ship people across the sea. All it takes is money. There are people who handle the paperwork for you, and that's what I did, said Patricia. The sort of organizational muscle that would be needed to see something like the Flat Earth International Conference fully realized only 1 year later, not to mention dozens of alternative Flat Earth conferences, blah, 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 blah. Fuck this shit. We're skipping it. I only want her quotes article. I only need her quotes. Oh, here we go. If only, okay, Patricia wanted a community bonded by their love of one community or common identity. She and Antonio seem to embody that. John and Yoko all over again. You guys are extremely exaggerating their relationship in this article. Okay, you are exaggerating this shit. To prove the point, they started making videos together. They called them secret hangouts. The idea was several people, herself included, would sporadically scatter in pockets across the world. She in America, Antonio in England, somebody else in Spain. And at that time, I was making videos with Mark Sargent calling them The Secret Show. All tongue-in-cheek, it was a weekly magazine show, which I hoped to make a community, one which attempted to make the sort of statement that would likely be expected of a movement, a, quote, we're all in this together approach, where it would be discussed Flat Earth and all things that had happened in Flat Earth over the week. We'd talk about new experiments, what was coming up. Oh, by the way, we've got some dumb experiments that people did today to show you after this article, so stick around. Really dumb experiments. Listeners could interact in the comments. It was a community aspect, lighthearted but community-based. We get the point. Personalities like Math Powerland, Eric Dubay, who had only recently introduced the world to a dangerous idea, seemed to explode online as if the very moment that it is were rooted from a matrix-based landline telephone, and multitudes of imprisoned, disenfranchised gamers flocked to each other quicker than they could dial numbers to free them. Oh my god, this is, guys, the worst author I've ever read. It makes so much sense that he's a flat earther. Good lord. Patricia Steer, the movement belonged to no one and everyone. Okay, I'm skipping this too. It's stupid. She already started making hit pieces against Patricia, Dubay had. He titled them Flat Earth and Other Shill Potatoes. Yeah, that... Actually, let me think. No, that's a really stupid title. You gotta be creative. Dubay does not know how to be creative. As one of Powerland and Dubay's early and lesser-known arrivals, Steer was personable and emotionally charged, and a pretty face behind a microphone in a short-lived epoch of disorderly online activity. When most conspiracy YouTubers kept their identities hidden and their voices contained to a slideshow and screenshots. Worst of all, Patricia was a woman. Hold on. Worst of all, Patricia was a woman. An easy target. Okay, you know what, author of this article? You're just a bad dude, all right? You're just a bad dude. You are an incel. I knew you were an incel when I started reading this. Now you've confirmed it. Again, that was 2015. It could have been 16, Patricia said. Dubay channel has been taken down and put up several times. It's difficult recalling a date. It was weird because I didn't have a big channel in 15. Why is this flat earther, whom she clearly admired, a fixture of the movement in mind, suddenly making videos on her? Because you're a woman. Because he's an incel. He doesn't like women. He wants all the attention. It's pretty obvious, Patricia. Why is he insinuating in the last 3 letters of her name, CIA, once capitalized, somehow proved that she's a CIA agent? You want me to tell you, Patricia? Because he's a flat earther. They just say anything they want to say. It's just stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Her name's Patricia, so she's a member of the CIA. So dumb. It's perhaps plausible she contemplated the matter while boarding the plane. It's quite unlikely that anything other than her anticipated reunion with Subirats hugged center stage. Subirats and the legion of videos they would make while seated together on his couch, laughing, joking, obviously a couple in love. Never in her wildest dreams did Patricia Steer think, nor she imagine, Eric Dubay's videos were a harbinger of things to come. Her move to England would not even last 3 months. I need to interject here. So for those of you that don't know, after her and Subirats split up, Subirats is the one who started the whole thing about her not being a woman. Which is weird because that would mean he was in a relationship with 3 months actively sleeping with not a woman. And the dude seems pretty homophobic, so it's just a weird thing that happened all the way through. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. Leaving, part 9, leaving the flat earth. This is going to be the good stuff, peeps. Team Skeptic! What's up, brother? Hey, if you want to jump in here after I finish this article, let me know, dude. You're welcome to come in, man. All right, let's keep it moving. We got Team Skeptic in the chat. As always, he's welcome to jump up here. I just got to finish this article. We're not far off. Okay, unbeknownst to Patricia, another controversy was waiting to welcome her in the UK undertaking. What the hell is that? I don't know what that means. Okay. Oh, to welcome her UK undertaking. And on the very day of her arrival, no less in time, it would ferment into the sort of hemlock-laced poison in which anyone with a laptop and Wi-Fi could pass around and drink. Subirats put out a video implying he was gay. Quote, I don't know why he did that, Patricia sighed. Caused a lot of ripples and waves within the Flat Earth community. Initially, Subirats insisted to his girlfriend that others had edited a video simply to try and hurt his reputation, a perchance endanger their community. Patricia believed him naturally. I defended him like I knew he wasn't gay. Only later did I learn in the video that there was some things you couldn't just slice and dice to make people do, like unzipping your own pants and grabbing your own butt. That can't be done with editing. You can put words into people's mouths, you know, but he did those things. Why did he do those things on video? Make up some quote-unquote gay video when he's not gay? Was he doing it to create some kind of controversy? Why did the video come out on the first day I arrived in the UK? Well, let me tell you. Because he's an incel that hates women. He planned on doing this to try to damage your reputation. Probably teamed up with Dubay to do it. Who knows? That's so fucked, though, bro. I played the... pardon me for a minute. Do you guys want to see the video? Antonio Subirats. What is it? Daytime, nighttime? Team Skeptic showed me this. So here's the video that was released by Antonio Subirats on his channel the day that Patricia arrived to the UK. This is not a joke. This video really came out on his channel. Take a look. Take a look. Busy, if you don't make this thing play, I'm going to leap across this room and kick you in the donuts, bro.
So, let's see what you think of this. 4 or 5 or maybe 6 men, they jump on me like I was made out of chocolate cake. Yeah. So, daytime, nighttime. Daytime, nighttime. Daytime, nighttime. Daytime, nighttime. Ooh, no. Daytime, nighttime. Sexy, sexy. Daytime, nighttime.
Stop crying, Busy. Stop crying. You can make it through the video.
Daytime, nighttime. Sexy, sexy. Daytime, nighttime. Sexy, sexy. Stranger. I am good at dissecting asshole, especially at nighttime.
Busy, you paused that on the perfect spot, my dude. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, seriously. Anyway, this is the video. I'm not joking. It's serious. This is what happened. Okay. As one might expect of such ill-advised decisions, their relationship slowly began to show some serious cracks. I could make a joke right now. Now, everybody who's dated has had that happen to them. What now? Now, hold the front door. Now, everybody who's dated has had that happen to them before. Their partner makes a video stating that they're gay and puts it up on their YouTube channel as soon as you arrive in the UK to see them for the first time. I don't think we've all experienced that before, author of the article. You meet somebody, you think they're great, and then you get to know them and find out they're nuts. Oh, no, we've all done that, yes. I'm in. We've all had that happen. He did right. I'm in, yes. We've all had that happen. Even if it's not dating, you had people you thought were good people to hang with that turned out not to be. That's normal. But in this internet world and then moving into another country, these surprises prove to have a bigger impact. That's why you don't do it. UNIRock patented advice. Antonio lived in a very, very small, she started to say, then paused to consider her words, nothing like I'm used to living in. He lived off government assistance, 100%. Now, I didn't know that when I moved there. Well, yes, you should have. He's a flat earther on YouTube making videos asking for money. What do you mean you don't know that? What do you think he's doing? You think he's doing flat earth videos because he's talented? Do you think he's doing it because he's smart? Do you think he's doing it because he's not trying to rip people off for cash? Why? It's easy to prove that it's not flat, yet he's been pushing that shit for years. Anyway. He told me he lived off of paintings, and there was paint in the apartment and a canvas and a brush that were used, but he didn't paint anything. I was a bit shocked to find out when I got there that he was on, I guess it's Dole, they call it. Now, wait a minute. Wait. What is Dole? Audience, help me out. What the hell is Dole? Let me find out. If you know, type it in the chat. What is Dole? Benefit paid by the government to the unemployed. Distribute share of something. Oh, okay. It's like an unemployment thing or something. Or it's like a welfare or something. Somebody said meth and somebody else said welfare. The soul means on welfare. Okay, unemployment. Got it. Okay, that's what I thought anyway. It just made sense. Okay. Hey, no shame in being on unemployment and no shame on getting help sometimes. That's not the point of my show. I'm just saying. Okay. But he didn't paint anything. I was shocked to find out he was on Dole, they call it. I didn't understand. He told me he painted for a living, but then he never painted once while I was there, which was weird, because he lied to you, Patricia. Subirats would spend most of his time on YouTube Hangouts, which would ache through the night till 4 or 5 a.m. Sometimes she'd wake up alone in bed and find him asleep on the sofa. That's not normal, Patricia. See, when you first meet somebody, and they're you know, cute. You know, Patricia's cute. She's sexy. You have a desire at least for the first couple of years of the relationship, to make sure you don't sleep on the couch. Is that how I put it? You know, the first few years of a relationship when you're in love and somebody's attractive and you're like, you know, young and everything, you just meet and stuff. Yeah, you typically make sure you wind up in bed with them every night. You get what I'm saying here? Okay, got it. All right. And I mean every night. All right. Sorry, my camera's still broken. I'm poor. I can't afford a new one yet. I'm going to try to get one this next week and a half from now. Okay. Now, where was it at here? He'd sleep on the sofa with cigarettes scattered around him. I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I was in the midst of falling in love, understanding that I'm with a very broke man, understanding that I'm with a man with no motivation at all, understanding that I'm with a man who stays up to 5 a.m. every night doing videos. How did you not know this? Did you not see that he did this every night? I mean, it's okay if he's successful on YouTube and if he's got a good show and he's not lying to people every night to take money from people, then yeah, go see the guy. Go hook up with him. Yay! But if he's sitting there doing flat earth videos and these hangouts and slobbering all over himself, and I would probably, you know, make sure before you marry the guy. Okay. Okay. Doing videos and who had also heavily began attacking other YouTubers on his videos, including the Christian community, right when I'm there. He hated Christians. Now hold the front door. Subirats? Subirats hated Christians? I don't take it. He seems like he's one of those religious flat earthers when I watch his videos. Subirats hates Christians? Jesus was fake and there's no such thing as God. Really delusional, says Patricia. He never did those things before I moved there, but when I was there, it all started. Subirats targeted Flat Earth YouTuber Orphan Red for being fat and stupid, and yet he wouldn't stop. He was on a rampage. It made every moment uncomfortable. I never understood what provoked him. It was the first time he'd ever been with a woman. As an insult, when he does finally get a woman to give him attention, the only thing he knows how to do is have a panic attack and attack other women. Come on, Patricia. You got to be smarter than this. Watch a freaking documentary on incels or something. Okay. Subirats targeted to blah, 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 blah. I got it. Okay. As they continued making public videos together on the couch, painting themselves as two lovers who had perhaps embodied and harmonized the dangerous idea which they stoked on canvas, the anger began in private. Every meal, every interaction involved his anger towards his family about not understanding flat earth and chemtrails. Oh, man. I don't even want to commentate on that. Can I read that again, though? It's pretty powerful, right? As they continue making videos, every meal, every interaction that he had with Patricia involved his anger towards his family about not understanding flat earth and chemtrails. He's crazy, Patricia. The same anger he expressed towards me when we were alone. Oh, hell no. They called me and pulled me aside one day and said, quote, "We love him. Just ignore that. It's just his Spanish blood." I wasn't used to a family that had angry outbursts. In order to make the move, Patricia had given most of her things away, including her car, a 2016 Mercedes E-Class. I had a beautiful place, but I did it for love, she said. I didn't do it for money because he didn't have any. I realized if I moved there, then I would have to be the one to get us out of the apartment that he was living in on government assistance and into a place I felt comfortable in, but without offending his pride and ego, because you can't do that to somebody. I was going to take on that burden because he was a flat earther. We were on the same page. We were physically attracted. I saw him as a deep, kind, spiritual person, very deep, He's a flat earther. How can he be deep or philosophical? Very intelligent? I saw him as the kind of man I could have in my life, but then I got there and I saw a different person. Yeah, because that's what he portrayed on YouTube. Patricia, the thing that people portray on YouTube typically turn out to not be those people. You get me? If they're doing deceptive things in their videos. That's the reason there are deceptive things in their videos. Told him right away that sex for me was a post-menopausal woman needed gentleness when getting started and lubrication. Why are we talking about, Patricia? Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this, Patricia Steer? Why are we talking about this? Oh, hell. Let's just get this over with. All right. He was fine with that, she said. and up until then understanding. It was the night of their first argument when decorum fell by the wayside. Quote, he was attacking Christians. He spent the entire evening before that railing against God, Jesus, and the Bible on YouTube on his channel, and I asked if he would ease up a bit and try to understand that Flat Earth belongs to everyone. He said he wasn't going to water down his message to please me. I said I wasn't asking him to do that, but instead to be compassionate to others. I said he didn't seem like the man I first met, who said that he cared about people in the community, or the Flat Earth, I should say. It was after her first confrontation that very night when he approached me for, as he put it, sexy time. Okay. We are going to read this next part of this article, but for the meek, for those out there who are easily triggered by stupidness and